Good morning and welcome to the Employability Skill Series, where we explore the top skills employers are looking for in candidates. Each week, we will cover a different topic with thoughts and insights from professionals in a variety of industries. I am your host, Megan Morrow, Associate Director of Career Services Business Careers, and today I have Mike Neighbors, professor here at FSC, as my guest. And today we'll be discussing the importance of organization and planning ahead in the workplace. Mike is an Emmy Award-winning veteran broadcast journalist with over 30 years of television experience working for national, regional, and local networks across the United States. Currently, Mike is a TV host for the New Orleans Saints, a position he's held since 2006. He anchors pre- and post-game shows along with his Errands series, which is a segment he created where he runs errands with Saints players, which airs on all Saints platforms. He most recently authored The Breezeway, a book that chronicled the career of the future Hall of Fame quarterback. Prior to the New Orleans Saints, Mike was the TV host of the Tampa Bay Lightning, serving as the team's pregame host and rinkside reporter. Mike is also a national and regional host for Fox News Net, covering every major sporting event and team in Florida for 3 years. Mike is the founder and CEO of Neighbors Media Group, a full-scale video and multimedia marketing production company. Mike is an adjunct professor at Florida Southern's Barney Barnett School of Business, where he launched courses in both sports innovation, entrepreneurship, and the business of sports media. His classes are available to graduate and undergraduate students. Good morning, Mike. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Mike? If you're talking, you're muted. Wow. That's interesting. All right, Mike, where are you? All right, everybody, give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna just go find Mike real fast. Hang on. All right, guys, sorry about that. He is coming. We had the wrong link. I know that we had sent some out before. All right, so just give us a quick second and he should be logging right in. All right, we have Mike with us now. Sorry about that, everybody. Again, the new link, I do apologize. Hey, Mike, thank you so much for being here with us today. You're muted, Mike. There.
All right. I didn't know about the new link. I apologize.
No, that's totally fine. I apologize too. All right, so I did your introduction. It was beautiful. And thank you so much for being here today as we talk about the importance of organization and planning ahead in the workplace.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you had me on a Friday because I preach this to all my students. And if any of my students are listening, they know this and maybe they didn't get it at first, but since they've been around me for a little while, today's not TGIF, it's TGIT. There are no countdowns if you love what you do, right, Megan? It's not TGIF, it's TGIT. Thank guys today. I don't believe in case of the Mondays or hump day or TGIF. I love the weekends. But I want to talk today, and I know you've talked about this all the time, about the importance of finding something you're passionate about. And if you do, you're not counting down to the weekend every week.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I talk about that all the time in my classes. Find what you love. Don't be the person that, is dreading going into work every day or that can't wait for 5 o'clock to roll around, that kind of thing. When you love what you do, it's like you don't feel like you're actually working.
Absolutely. I wanted to be a reporter for as long as I can remember. And it's been probably since 4th grade when I realized I wouldn't be a professional athlete. But, I can talk about my career path and how I got my first job and all of those things. But the bottom line is the money will come, the opportunities will grow if you love what you do. It's so important to find something you do. And I really believe this is the time. It's an exciting time in your life where you will, pursue internships, learn more in whatever your major is or whatever discipline in the business school, but just find something you like. Because if you intern, it's really good on both ends. You may eliminate something, I experienced this, I didn't like it, but I like this part of it, and I'm going to carry this moving forward.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot, even if it's not, knowing exactly what you want to do right off the bat, but something in the industry that you love, and then you can grow with it and move forward with it. So tell us a little bit about how did you get into what you do? Because I mean, from when I read your bio and everything, all the cool things that you've done, that's probably like every sports business, student's dream to do the things that you've been doing. So how did you get started?
I really, it's funny, people I went to high school with, they knew back then that I wanted to be a reporter, a sports reporter. So the key to me was interning. I remember being at a gym when my summer after my freshman year in college and seeing the local sportscaster. Local news used to be a bigger deal. There wasn't as much competition back then with social media and all the entities we have. But if you were a local sportscaster back in the 80s, it was a big deal because there were fewer choices. So I saw him in the gym and I'd kind of recognized him. I walked up to him and told him what I was pursuing in college and did he need any help? And he said, come out and see me tomorrow. And so what's crazy about this story is I ended up interning for him the whole summer. And then the next summer I wanted to go back, but he left and took a job in Virginia. And who replaced him, it went so well that internship that he recommended me to his replacement. And the crazy thing is his replacement is now in Tampa and he's a sportscaster. And recently, his name is JP Peterson. And recently, this is insane, he sent me a picture of a day planner when he was supposed to meet with me. And we were laughing about it. That was in 1988, everybody. The connections that you create via internships, they're so important. They will lead you on a path where you will find something you want to do. And frankly, this is why you never burn a bridge. You may not like working for somebody, but you take the positives from that experience. And moving forward, I've always had him as a lifelong friend, and we've worked together in projects. And that was in 1988. We're in 2023 now. It's pretty crazy.
That's crazy. No, I love that you say that because another thing that I speak really, really heavily on in the classroom is networking. Getting out there, meeting people, attending as many events as you possibly can, introducing yourself, practicing, presenting yourself professionally so that these people remember you, even at a young age, even as freshmen, they can start going to any of our networking events or career events or our interview things. And then, as they grow in their education and they start to look for internships, their names are going to be the ones that pop up on the forefront of these employers' minds because they have had exposure to them. And I think that was huge.
Absolutely. And I advise a lot of students, and LinkedIn is such a powerful tool. I wish I would have had that back in 1988. Social media, Twitter, as a professor, I was excited about bringing in guest speakers from my field or people that I knew that work for sports teams or different entities. But some of the guest speakers that I've reached out to them randomly on Twitter. They don't know me. You can do that now. You can do it on LinkedIn. You can do it on social media. And really the key in all of it is they may not have an opening right now, but you're planting the seed for a future connection. They don't have an opening now, but when they do, you have a contact, you have a connection with them. And it's so important not to worry about if they have an opening, but you want to be aligned with someone, make that connection either way.
Yeah, that's very powerful. Even if it's not going to benefit you right this moment, it will. And I think about that, for athletes that are training, like, just because you start running, 3 miles, 4 miles or lifting, it's not like you're going to absolutely see the benefits or the results right away, but over time, you become a stronger candidate for that. So talk to me a little bit why you feel organization is so important in the workplace.
It's important everywhere. I remember when I wanted to teach, and I didn't want to teach until I had experience. I always knew along the way when I was a sportscaster, and I still am active in it, that I wanted to teach, but I also knew that I wanted to have the experience. But when I went back to school, I wanted to see it in person. And this, I'm going to kind of give it to you, from different perspectives, but I wanted to see what the instructors, how they were different, how they constructed their class. And I think students, you can recognize this, you like from a professor, to give you what the expectations are. You don't like surprises, or it's vague, or you don't really understand what the assignments are. You want an organized plan. And frankly, that carries over to everything from being a professor to I own my own company to being a sportscaster. If you're disorganized and you don't have a plan, it affects your work. It affects how you deliver your work. It affects everybody around you. So being organized really takes the pressure off, because if you put in the work and put in the time and have a plan, your students are going to be better. You know, I ran sports departments. My staff was better around me. I own a company. If I'm organized about the plan, my videographers who shoot my projects, my producers who, you know, do the post-production and help me with the graphics, if I give them an organized plan, whether it's my students, my company, or in sports, you're going to execute things better.
No, absolutely. I think that's huge. Especially as educators, you know, we can't just walk into the classroom and wing it. You know, we have to have our plans, we have to have the activities, the assignments, if we're having guest speakers, if we're going to be, you know, evaluating them on some type of skill or something, we have to have, you know, the rubric, we have to know what we're looking for, what we're trying to ask of them. And the same thing goes with students, especially as they're preparing to interview for internships and interview for jobs. We talk a lot about that in class too, preparing, organizing ahead of time, you know, doing your research, feeling comfortable and confident so that when you do go into, you know, in interviews, you know what you're talking about, because they can tell right away when someone is just, you know, kind of winging it and just kind of like flying by the seat of their pants. So it does make everything go a lot smoother when you are organized. For sure.
Yeah, I know we have some freshmen who take the you know, the introductory to business school and the Shark Tank competition. I tell them all the time, especially at this juncture of the class, if you've been organized, if you followed a game plan the entire way, then you don't have a lot of pressure on you now, because you're just accumulating everything that you've done the whole semester, and that can carry over to any class. If you put off hard work or research in any class, it's not going to be good at the end of the day. And the same with internships. I know, you know, we keep coming back to that, but you can't put off internships to your senior year, really late junior year. As I mentioned, my first internship was the summer after my freshman year. I started building my network, and it kept growing and growing. That's what you have to do at an early point in your college experience.
Absolutely. Yeah, the sooner the better, for sure. Now let's talk about, you know, we talked about planning ahead and kind of organizing. I know you and I've talked about this, just the two of us, or just kind of in passing, but just how, like, also to being able to shift, you know, like if your career path isn't exactly what you kind of had envisioned it. Like me, like I was going into school, I knew I was going to be a journalist, kind of like you. I loved it. I loved to write, but, you know, taking the first couple courses, that wasn't the kind of writing I enjoyed doing. So then I had to, like, you know, shift. And I don't do any kind of journalism, but I knew that's what I was going to be. Actually, I knew I was going to be a bear trainer when I was 5, apparently, according to my mom. I was going to be a bear trainer, or I was going to be a taxi cab driver, and I was going to make 50 grand. So in the 80s, that was a lot of money. So I was really excited about it. But so let's talk a little bit about shifting. I think sometimes our students, like, they get a little maybe hung up on, hey, I know this is what I want to do, and I'm going to just do this. But then when things pivot and you don't have any kind of plan B or any type of, like, any other type of backup plan, like, that could be a little disorienting. So let's talk a little bit about how sometimes your path isn't always where you originally thought it was going to be.
Absolutely. And here's the first advice with that. Everybody's different. In this day and age of social media, we see others and we feel like they're living in this perfect world. I have 2 daughters, and I have to remind them all the time, that's the best of their world. Okay. And there are some people who do the same job their whole lives, and that's fine. But all of us have different paths, and all of us have different passions. I've always wanted to be a sportscaster. I will always be a sportscaster. I still do shows. I still do projects. I'm still active in it. But what I've learned, especially in the last 5 years, is that I have passions elsewhere. And you'll learn that too. And they'll be different. I never thought that I would write a book. I never thought that I'd want to speak. And I never thought the depths of my teaching either. And frankly, at the end of the day, as much as I love sportscasting and all my experiences, I get more satisfaction from teaching. It's better, Megan, than I ever thought it would be. My interactions with the students, my abilities to potentially help them moving forward and to teach them, I never thought I would love it. And to your point about pivoting and starting with one dream and going to another, never limit yourself. That doesn't mean you have to let go of your dream. You're just adding to your resume. You're adding your options, and creating options is such a key now, because frankly, it's good to have that leverage in your life. It's good to have that freedom. You feel more well-rounded. You're doing a lot of different things. I mean, I'm working on my second book now. I'm speaking more. I'm teaching. I'm still in sportscasting. It's great. I'm doing a little bit of everything, but I'm not defined by one thing. But the big takeaway here is you may have a dream. You may think you want to be in one area of business or one area of communications, whatever it is, but don't ever limit yourself. Don't ever think that, you know what, you have to do this the rest of your life. Yeah, I enjoy it, but maybe I could enjoy this. It's okay to get out of your comfort zone and do something you're scared of. You know, I was scared to speak publicly. I was scared. I couldn't write a book. I was scared. I don't know if I could teach. All these things have turned out great.
Yeah.
When you overcome your fears, it gives you confidence, and it creates so many options for yourself.
No, I love that you talk about that, because as an educator of 20 plus years, I love it. It shows in my face, when I talk about my students, when I talk about a new initiative that I'm starting, or a certain topic, I get super excited. People around me just know like how passionate I am. And like you, I never thought I would teach. That had no interest. I had zero interest. And I took a teaching position because honestly, for the wrong reasons. I had my first son and I was like, hey, I want to be on the same schedule as him. I didn't want him, having a babysitter or daycare all the time. It's the wrong reason to take a job, but man, I fell in love with it. I had no idea I liked it. I had no idea how passionate I was about connecting with youth and helping them kind of navigate, into the next phases of their life. And I've been doing it for over 20 years. And just last year, it was fun kind of watching you come into your own, because you would tell me all the time, like, I've never taught. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing, or, yeah. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah. Look at you now. It's a whole nother, it's just a whole different passion when you care, when you love what you do so much, especially when it involves other people and the youth of our future.
Yeah. Yeah, I just have enjoyed the whole experience. And, I think the best part of it is you're always learning in whatever you do and whatever age you are. I mean, I'm a much better professor than I was a year ago. And then as an adjunct before that, because, the more experience you get, especially if you love it, you really want to get better at. And you find different ways to, build off of that passion. So passion is everything. Most people aren't passionate about their jobs. Most people dread going to work. Most people, I kid about the TGIT thing, but the TGIF, hey, listen, I like the weekends as much as everybody. I'm looking forward to this weekend, but I'm not dreading Monday, because I'm looking forward to the things I'll be doing in class on Monday. And I had the same mindset when I was a sportscaster. Listen, I don't want you thinking this guy lives in La La Land. Listen, I had bad days at work. I had bad days at work here. I had bad days in TV. But if you do something you're passionate about, you have less bad days.
I love that. Yeah, it's not all sunshine and roses. We're not trying to paint that once you find what you love, then you never have a bad day, and you never, kind of have, maybe little quips with your colleagues, or, think like, ugh, I don't want to go in. I mean, we all have those days. I mean, our students have those days. They don't want to come to class. And it has nothing to do with you or me or the content. They're just not feeling it, And so that's realistic. That's realistic to, even when you love your job, to still be like, ugh, today is just a, lay on the couch and watch movies day, or, something like that.
We all get tired. We all get stressed. We all have lives outside of work, and that impacts things. But if you look at any study, it'll say that most people, they don't hate their jobs necessarily. They're just not passionate. So find something you're passionate about. And I know, I talk to my students about that all the time. I know, Megan, you do as well. And at first you're thinking, okay, great. But is that really reality? It is reality, because don't worry about what your friend's doing. Maybe they're making more money than you after college. It's not a race. If you love what you do, everything that you care about in terms of potential earnings and being elevated to different positions, it will come because you are passionate and you love what you do.
Yeah, that's something you can't fake.
Yeah.
People come, I know so many people that you're talking about that just basically punch a time card.
Yeah.
They don't hate their job, but they're just filling space and collecting a paycheck.
Right.
And when you love what you do, like for me, like my Mondays, I'm here sometimes by 7 a.m., depending if I'm taking my son to school or to the bus stop, but I'm here till 8 p.m.
Wow.
And I don't mind. No, I don't want to do 12-hour days every day and
Right.
be away from my family. But that one day a week, I don't mind. You know,
Yeah.
the students that I have in that 6 o'clock class, they make it worth it. They make it enjoyable that I'm here all day, and I look forward to them, you
Well,
know.
let me say this too about my peers in the business. Many of them have told me, why do you want to teach? Our business, newspapers, nobody's reading newspapers anymore. Nobody's watching local news. Our business is dying. No, frankly, their mindset is dead because they're not evolving, they're not adapting, they're not pivoting. There are more opportunities now in the world of business and sportscasting and media for all the students who are watching than ever. I wish I had those opportunities when I graduated college back in the early 90s. Don't let the naysayers frustrate you. I look at my friends and I say, listen, I preach to them. I wish I had the things now that they have. Our business is not dying. So don't worry about others. Just follow your path and know that I like this. I'm going to work hard at this. I'm going to broaden my network and I'm going to be good at this because I love it.
Yeah, no, there's always going to be people that hate on success. You
Yeah.
know, I like that you said that, ignore the naysayers, because there's going
Yeah.
to be people that see that you're doing good, doing the things that you want to do, and
Yeah.
they themselves maybe couldn't do it. So then, of course, it's like, ugh, I could never do that. And then it just kind of like that raining on your parade. I don't ever let that bother me. Actually, I embrace that. The more that people hate on my success, the more that means I'm doing really good.
You have to have that inner confidence. And you know what? Experience gives you that inner confidence. I'm a big believer in doing things you're scared of. It gives you so much confidence. I remember walking in my first class here as an adjunct professor. I started this course and it's a B term, it's 3 hours.
Oh,
I was nervous, but you
yeah.
know, when it was over, it went great. And you just keep building and building and building. Don't ever feel that you're the only person who's nervous. The first day of school, I have the Shark Tank class, and I say, listen, this is your first day of college. People show nerves in different ways. It's okay to be nervous because you know what? Being nervous means you care. And just know that you're normal to feel all these emotions.
Yeah, no, my very first day teaching in public school, I had an all-out panic attack. Had no idea where it came from. And I love teaching. Like I'm very confident, but like you, like I didn't know what I was doing. And I had been teaching 2 years prior.
Right.
No, I take it back, 4 years prior, in different kind of alternative settings. So this was my first public school setting. And I'm lucky, like kind of had my back to the students. I was writing something on the board, but man, like everything went black and I started sweating. I was like, what is happening? I had no idea. I kind of like sat at my desk, like, oh, these kids must think I'm like crazy.
Right.
Just because, yeah, I was nervous and I didn't even realize how nervous I was, but it turned out great. Like I said, here I am 20 years later,
Yeah,
still in the classroom, and I couldn't imagine being anywhere else.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
we're
like to lean on experience too, because during lectures, you'll talk about the textbook, but to give an experience that aligns with what you're teaching is
yes.
it's so satisfying.
Yes. Yeah, where you can give that
Yeah,
personal touch. It's
absolutely.
not just something that you're reading out of a book. I like that too. Like, so
Absolutely.
I think, as older professors, other older educators, like we've had life experience.
Yeah,
And there's a lot that we can tie into, whether it's our previous positions or having children or, just the life experience that we can bring to the table. That's why, like, I'm glad I did my grad school later in life. I got so much
yeah,
more out of it
right.
because I had life experience to bring into.
Absolutely. I feel the same way. I remember thinking at the beginning of this, where did I get myself into? But it's just like anything else in life. The more confidence that you get out of an experience that challenges you, the more you want to excel in it and the more you want to thrive moving forward. And yeah, when I went back to school to get my master's at 50, I remember sitting in class and a professor afterwards asked me, why are you here? And I told her I wanted to teach. And I had an assistantship, but then, like many of you, COVID affected me. We couldn't participate like we normally could in classes. But the whole experience, I really took a lot out of it because there were many times, and it's okay to feel this way, where you're thinking, what did I get myself into? Is this going to work? Is this for me? Was this worth the time and effort? But you gain confidence overcoming obstacles like that.
I love it. Yeah. Embrace the fear. Let it.
Yeah,
Do you remember that movie Lost where they talk about that? Like you have to let the fear in, roll
yeah,
around with those feelings for like 5 minutes, and then go ahead and move forward.
absolutely.
So
I'm a big proponent of all those things. Yeah.
All right. So I just got the weird thing that 10 minutes wrap. I have no idea what's going on with our Zoom. We were not supposed to have a time limit, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up, Mike. Is there any last minute advice that you could give our students who are looking to develop this skill as far as like planning and organizing as they kind of start to move through their college career and into the next phases of their journey?
Know you're normal, okay? It's okay if you don't know what you want to do, but to fix that problem, meet as many people as you can, experience as much as you can, maximize your college experience by doing that, because now is the time to make that move. Even though you don't know what you want to do, if you do those things, you'll figure it out.
Thank you so much. That's awesome. And thank you again so much for being here. And I'm so sorry about all the technical snafus,
Yep.
but it looks like we pulled it off. Thank you for your time and your words of wisdom. And I know that the students appreciate that. I'm happy to see so many on here with us today to learn from you. And, you know, we're right next door. So we'll continue to be each other's neighbors, Professor Neighbor.
Well, always reach out to me on email if you have any, if you need any help too. I love helping students out if they are passionate about what they want to do moving forward. But thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you everyone who joined us. Please remember to scan the QR code on the screen or click the link in the chat pod for your attendance to count on Engage. All right, and I just lost my light, so I guess that's it, guys. Thank you so much. Have a good one, and happy Thanksgiving, everybody.